I want to talk a little bit about how I work with myth. And in this instance, I'm speaking about the myths that are given to us. So these bigger texts and stories that are sort of handed down. I feel that as we become more confident in working with the bigger myths, then we can start to just actually create our own, author our own story and our own myth that may be influenced by these other myths, but it's a bespoke reflection of ourselves. And this is the thing, the myth that we recount is a reflection of us. So as we shift and change, the myth will shift and change, and it gives an insight into where we are. So in the bigger context, the first thing is to remember that these stories were written down by people, have been passed down by people, have been interpreted into different languages by people. I think it's so important to get out of our heads. We're always looking for the absolute truth, and we're never going to find it in these stories, or who's right or who's wrong, and the academic and logical way of doing these things. It's not going to touch the deep soul level where the true healing can happen. In order for this, I believe it has to be artistic and creative. So, just one of the many myths that I love to work with is the myth of Lilith. And there are lots of different stories around who she was and what she did, and there's different tales. And for me, I use those tales to get a sense of the story, and then I sit with it, and I sit with Lilith. A lot of people are afraid of Lilith. They think she's a demon. I do not. I really like her. Another way I'm weaving myth into my story, I have really interesting Lilith placements in my astrological chart. So my natal chart, I have Black Moon Lilith. It is in very interesting aspects with Pluto and Venus. And asteroid Lilith is in a really interesting position as well. So I like to think that this is why I have a different relationship with Lilith than I've heard others have. Don't feel she's a demon. Aren't we always told they're demons whenever they're a wee bit wild and they won't do as they're told? So I won't go into the details of the story, but as I've sat with the story of Lilith, and I've brought in Adam and I've brought in Eve, I've just had such a revelation about the energetic principles that these archetypes represent, which allows me to embody the energetic. I identify with Lilith, and so I can embody that, and I can see how that shapes how I am in the world. I can also see how it was possibly already shaping how I was in the world. And here's the difference. Sometimes how I was in the world was perhaps considered a bit too much, a bit too radical, a bit too weird, just too much, and not necessarily acceptable. But as I have worked with the myth of Lilith, and I have sat with it, and I've let her speak to me, then I have shifted my relationship with those characteristics that I have. And they're no longer a problem for me. They might be a problem for other people, but that's their problem. So this is part of how I work with the bigger myths. In the container, the Substack container, I'm breaking down little things that I feel are like aspects of reality, like possibility and golden shadows, and just little things that are, it's like the detail that we can shift. And as we shift those little details, then the bigger picture starts to shift and shape as well and reweave. and become something that's life affirming. Bottom line, it's life affirming. Any of my work, anything that I do, the underlying principle is it's all right, you're all right, and we will get there. It's life affirming. So I just wanted to give a little snippet of how I work, and that's just one myth. There's so many that I work with. It's so interesting. I just wanted to give a little bit of insight with how myth work can actually be very life affirming and shift your identity, shift your id entity, how you perceive yourself, and therefore how you affect the world around you, how you live your life and how you affect the world around you. And really, in these times, that's the best thing. That's the best medicine that we can do. Logic, academia, arguments, they've proven that there's limits. There's a deeper soul level transformation at play at this time. And for me, this is a beautiful, artistic, life-affirming way to work with that. So I hope this finds you well.